Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. And we're 1 minute late because Ronnie and I were having fun talking because Ronnie's here live today. So say hi, Ronnie.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, whatever. Happy Valentine's Day.
So get yourself centered. We're going to have a fun time today. This is a joy. This is an event, okay? So what I want you to do is welcome Ronnie. Ronnie's going to have 3 songs today for us that are going to be included inside of the lesson. So as you get yourself organized, relaxed, feet up, what I'd like you to do is turn your ringers off your phones, of course, if you're listening on your phone. And just take those 3 deep breaths. Just center us together now inside of this wonderful day called Valentine's Day. Breathe in, gold light. Just breathe out, exhale through your mouth. Any grayness, sadness, disappointments, send them away. Breathe in, gold light. Fill yourself up. Exhale. And one more time. Great. Thank you. So what we want to begin with is a special treat from Ronnie. Thank you. What is a blessing? A blessing is a circle of light drawn around a person to protect, to heal, to strengthen. Life is a constant flow of emergence. The beauty of the blessing is its belief that it can affect what unfolds. When a blessing is invoked, a window opens in eternal time. So please take a few minutes, and whether you're wishing it for your beloved or for a friend, send your blessings now while we give you a few minutes. Good. So welcome back, and now we're going into this story and the possibility that's shared by the relationship of love shared by Christ and Mary Magdalene. We begin. And their eyes met. Somewhere along the way, whether in Galilee, on an early teaching trip to Jerusalem, or somewhere in the wilderness between, Jesus and Mary Magdalene became acquainted. The Gospels do not say how. She simply appears among the camp followers. Some scholars feel that Jesus' encounter with the Samaritan woman at that well in John chapter 4, verses 5 to 26, may in fact be a veiled description of his first meeting with Mary Magdalene. But the evidence supporting this inference is a bit technical and will need to await our fuller explanation of the Gospel of John later. In the later traditions of Gnostic Christianity, however, a story exists describing their first meeting. While most likely apocryphal, or both the psychological and spiritual levels, it seems to ring true. In this wisdom version of the classic recovering prostitute theme, the outstandingly beautiful and spiritually precocious Mary Magdalene had been promised in marriage by her worldly-minded Jewish father to a wealthy Babylonian merchant. En route to Babylon, however, her caravan was attacked by robbers, and she was instead sold into slavery and prostitution. After a time, she managed to regain her freedom, but inwardly, she was still held hostage by hatred, rage, and darkness. At length, a dream came to her telling her that she must return to the land of her birth and seek out the Anointed One who would deliver her. She left immediately for the Holy Land, crossed the Jordan River, and found her way to the place he was teaching. A crowd had gathered around him, and she hid herself in the back, hoping to remain unseen. But while the Anointed was speaking, quote, at one point he glanced at her, caught her gaze, and something passed between them. She was thunderstruck. An energy and vibration filled her whole body. Her sight opened, and she saw his true form as light and fire and truth and a love such as she had never known welled up in her. From this book by Cynthia Bourgeau, I was directed by Mary Magdalene to several books I was transformed by. And these are the particular pages that she gave me my blessing on sharing with you. The View from the Gutter. It doesn't help matters either that most of the conversation going on concerning the question of Mary Magdalene and Jesus has been little better than scandal mongering. Amid the flurry of gossip and speculation emerging from the current plethora of early and pseudo-scholarly studies, we are really presented with only four options as to how to view their relationships. One, that Mary Magdalene was Jesus' mistress. Two, that theirs was a politically arranged marriage strictly for dynastic purposes. Three, that they were sexual consorts in some Gnostic mystery religion, ritually reenacting the sacred games of that religion, union of the opposites. Or four, that the whole story is purely archetypal, a great Saphianic myth depicting the integration of the masculine and feminine within the human soul. Sex, power, cult, or myth, not a great set of choices. It's yet to be considered what in a sexually healthy culture would surely seem to be, could be, an obvious possibility. They were faithful beloveds whose lives were joined together in a fully enfleshed human love, which was a source of strength and nurturance for both of them, which far from diminishing their spiritual integration, their spiritual deepening, it fulfilled it. Why is it so hard to get there? Well, that's possibly because the celibate template that was set out later by all the orthodoxies would not allow us to consider that. Moving through these chapters to give you those that I think will. From Christ's teachings, it is not external observances or ascetic rigors that produce purity, Christ taught. There is only one purity, the purity produced from within, by a refashioning of the heart. Do you not see that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and then out of the body? But what comes out of the mouth comes from the heart. And that is what it makes a person unclean. And indeed, it's from the heart that evil desires come: murder, adultery, immorality, theft, lie, slander. These are what make a person unclean. But eating without washing, that does not make a person unclean. With this insight, Jesus officially signaled his departure from the classic ascetic path. If it had somehow been missed before, it's now perfectly clear. He is marching to his own drummer. Through all of his teachings, disputes with the Pharisees, healings and miracles during the 3 years of his public ministry, he will lay out a simple but revolutionary method for arriving at purity at the heart from within. How did he come to know what he knew? It's surprising how rarely this key question is asked, probably because the overriding assumption is, well, of course he knew everything. He was the Son of God. But that precludes any developmental process. The Gospels themselves point to the 40 days of testing in the wilderness as the actual time when this knowing came to him, and their allegorical description of when he discovered it and what he discovered is surprisingly good, although they do not say much about how he discovered it. There are some suggestions about how he discovered it. Jesus did talk about singleness, and it was later prescribed to be he was talking about celibacy. But Mary has said, and Jesus asserted, that's not what he meant. Breaking through the egoic mind's compulsive need to divide the perceptual field into pitted opposites, inside, outside, male and female, subject and object, consciousness simply coincides with its source and looks at the world through a single lens of wholeness. To be able to make two become one in this fashion is to reunite with the creative principle of the universe itself. In the words of an unknown 14th monk, as he sees what he thought Christ saw, when you are able to make two become one, the inside like the outside, and the outside like the inside, the higher like the lower, so that a man is no longer male and a woman female, but male and female become a single whole. Then you shall enter in. When you are able to transform two into one, then you too will become Son of Man. And it will be possible for you to say to a mountain, move, and it will move. Two become one. So what is this relationship? This relationship of conscious love that I spoke about before, and that Boris Mordanev calls the fifth way to live life. A conscious relationship is one that calls forth who you really are writes John Wellwood. Instead of looking to a relationship for shelter, or to satisfy there's earthly needs and demands, personal agendas, personality issues. John says we would welcome its power to wake us up in areas of life where we are asleep and where we avoid naked, direct contact with life. This approach puts us on a path. It commits us to movement and change, providing forward direction by showing us what we need and where we need most to grow. Embracing relationship as a path also gives us practice, learning to use each difficulty along the way as an opportunity to go further, to connect more deeply, not just with a partner, but with our own aliveness as well. As many of us know, the great turning point and especially my own spiritual journey comes when we're called into this type of a relationship. Brother Raphael, or Rafe as he was known, was an authentic spiritual warrior. And while the emotional healing experience through our relationship was powerful for both of us, says Cynthia, the fundamental contract between us was clear. All our interactions were to be food for seeing, for a growth of consciousness. All difficulties were opportunities for growth and self-knowledge. And it was precisely by cutting through all the relational game playing that something qualitatively and more real began to express itself. Conscious relationship. So, what's possible? In fact, without the development of a strong inner observer, surmises the contemporary pioneer and pundit Edgar Tolle, all relationships are deeply flawed. One automatically identifies with one's needs, agendas, and projections, that fatal stew, which can instantly turn romance into armed warfare. The art of separation is essential to conscious love. So, this word of being single, that may have been taken as being celibate, was that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were single in and of each other's commitment to their own personal and spiritual development, to their personal development with the divine and Christ's commitment to a role to fulfill. But it was many times he laid his head in the lap of Mary Magdalene when he had fear, when he had doubt. And it was inside that partnership and that agreement, that promise, that your promise is my promise, that alignment, the alignment that each would be great. What Mary wants us to know here is that there is a real legacy. I'm reading from my notes now. What she gave me this morning is the real legacy of their love is that it is a basis to meet Christ. You can meet Christ through her. She's available. The faithfulness of their two hearts, resonating across time and space, forms a particular kind of energy channel through which, divine compassion pours itself forth as wisdom and creativity. From Mary Magdalene. Love is transformational. Love is transformational. And meeting life's challenges together with a commitment to keeping the other person's promise, to keeping the other person true to their sacred path, it's transformational. Love is energy. It is an energy that causes life. So partnership is not just a shared proposition, but a testament to the other's ultimate spiritual growth and development. And Ronnie?
As I lay me down, heaven hear me now. I'm lost without yours, after giving it my all. Winter storms have come and darkened my sun. After all that I've been through, who on earth can I turn to? I look to you. I look to you. After all my strength is gone, in you I can be strong. I look to you. I look to you. And when melodies are gone, in you I hear a song. I look to you. After losing my breath, there's no fighting left. Sinking to rise no more. Searching for that open door. Every road that I've taken led to my regret. I don't know if I will make it. Nothing to do but lift my head. I look to you. I look to you. After all my strength is gone, in you I can be strong. I look to you. I look to you. And when melodies are gone, in you I hear a song. I look to you. As my levees are broken, my walls have come tumbling down on me. All the rain is falling, defeat is calling. I need you to set me free. Take me away from the battle. I need you to shine on me. I look to you. I look to you. After all my strength is gone, in you I can be strong. I look to you. I look to you. And when melodies are gone, in you I hear the song. I look to you.
Thank you. Mary's intention in bringing this up, and our intention in offering you this gift today is to have you choose your partner, have you choose your beloved, choose who they are spiritually. Look behind the eyes and see what's possible. See what's possible. Become attuned and true to their why in life. What's their purpose? What are they up to? It was interesting that the priest who wrote the vows to my marriage, to my husband, and we were both very independent people, and we married later in life than most people. And our vow was not to love, honor, and obey. Our love was to love, honor the intentions of the other in this life and next, and support them in fulfilling their purpose in life. Wonderful. I don't even take credit for it. And we were true to that. We were true to that, and still are even since he's passed. So the possibility of having a relationship that's expansive, transformational, is truly exciting. And we wanted to offer you that today and let you know that what Mary Magdalene is speaking is a design to relationship, not the falling into love, not the falling into attraction and then out of, not the falling into the routine or the commitments. No, no. To have it resurrect you. Your relationship should resurrect you, should revitalize you. Go back there. Go back there together. Redeem your relationship. Offer it. Be one. Be one, truly one. One for all, and all for one. And look at the fulfillment of being single, united in partnership. Single, we have our own commitments and promises. Alone is how we were born, and alone is how we're going to leave. So we each have our own commitments and promises, talents, and with grace and love, honor those. Honor those of the person that you love. How far down the road are they on that big want they had? And what is it you can provide, or you can ask them to provide you to fulfill on it? And again, from our 14th century monk who did some research about this and had his own, I'd say, channelings about this possibility of this relationship. Here's my solution to the Jesus, Mary, Magdalene lesson. Sweet was the love between Lord and Mary. She had much love for him. He had more for her. Whoever would know thoroughly all that took place between him and her, not as a gossiper would tell it, but as the story of the gospel bears witness, which cannot possibly be false, he would find that she was so completely desirous of loving him that nothing less than he could comfort her. And if a man should desire to see written in the gospel the wonderful and special love that our Lord bore to her, he will find that our Lord would not permit any man or woman, yes, not even her own sister, to speak a word against her without answering for her himself. Yes, and what more? He blamed Simon, leprous, in his own house for what he thought about her. This was great love. This was surpassing love. Let's try it on. Let's try that one on. We're going to be hearing more from Mary Magdalene, and we're going to be talking more about the rising of, and there is the divine feminine and divine masculine coming together in one, like yin yang, but coming together too in this type of fulfilling relationship. We're going to speak about that on the 28th of the month. So I'll be going back to some of the other notes here. So I welcome you to hear that, see that. But for now, let's enjoy the energy of the holiday. I'm the guided spiritual director of the Sacred Journey of Life, a spiritual center and a healing order. And I invite you to call, text, if there is some support you need. Because one of the things we do is we do relationship counseling. And we also still offer our consults, one-to-one phone calls, and our mini retreats, if that will fulfill you on whatever you feel lacking in your life right now or troubled by. Please use us. Please invest in us. For any offerings, please send them by mail to the Sacred Journey of Life, 1318 Singer Place, Pittsburgh, 15221, or by PayPal to Sacred Journey of Life 2020 at gmail.com. Thank you for being with us today. We're going to end. Our closing prayer is actually, again, an offering by Ronnie.
Make just one sing to one smile that cheers you, one face that lights when it hears you, someone you're everything to. Fame everywhere comes and goes in a minute. What's the risk of your life? Cling to love is the answer. Someone to love is the answer. Once you found them, build your world around them. Make someone happy. Make any someone happy, and you will be happy too. If it comes and goes in a minute, what's the rest of your life? Cling to love is the answer. Someone to love is the answer. Once you found them, build your world around them. Make someone happy. Make any someone happy, and you will be happy too.
Thank you, Ronnie. We love you. Namaste.